talking about people like Tua, Hamlin and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, just ignoring certain things. Like I was saying, you know, you're preparing them for one side, but do you think like you were like all those guys prepared for stuff like that? You know,
No.
at all. Like look at, they're saying that he's making a full recovery. Even the thing with Tua, people still.
What is a full recovery?
Right.
What is a full recovery? Let me tell you something, man.
Good enough to play again, I guess.
This whole Damar Hamlin situation, man. For one, thank God that he is recovering. Thank God that he is still with us. Thank God that that brother is still above ground. You know what I mean? The man basically died twice and was brought back to life. You know what I mean? Even as a football player, as a former NFL player, as a former college All-American, I've never seen something like that. I've seen some tragic stuff happen on the field. You know, we play a violent game, and I don't think that anybody that plays at that level is under any pretenses about, you know, the danger. And man, you know you sign yourself up for a violent activity, a violent day, you know, when you step onto that field, but you never anticipate seeing what we saw that night. When I saw that brother, tackle was as routine as you could see. As a defender, I'm seeing a play and it's just normal play, and then you see him pop up, but then when you saw his body fall and collapse like that, you know, he didn't even fall, he collapsed. It was like something out of a movie. That's the way, you know what I mean? That's the way somebody falls out in a movie when they go. So as soon as his body hit the ground, I knew that there was a problem. And then you saw everybody around him react in the way that they did. And obviously, you know, trainers come on the field, you think, could it be a spine? Could it be this, that? But you look at it as they're replaying, you're like, no, it's no way. And then you see them start to do CPR, and you like, no, I'm not seeing what I think. I think everybody, as soon as we started seeing CPR being performed, I think everybody that's ever played this game, you know, if you didn't get emotional, you don't have a pulse, because we know that the game is violent. We know that we're going to anticipate seeing some car accident style collisions, but when you see somebody being worked on like that, man, that's life. That's beyond the game. That's we've entered now into another realm where there are no rivals, there are no opponents, we're all men. We're all somebody's son. Most of us are somebody's father, somebody's beloved. You never want to see somebody be hurt to the point by this game where it changes them. And to see that brother laying on the ground with his body being worked on by the medical staff, fighting for his life, your heart just goes out to him, to his family. You never seen so many rough and tough brothers start praying so fast, and that's the thing, man. Most of us, especially the black players on the team, man, most of us all grew up in somebody's black church. We come from a whole bunch of praying grandmothers. We come from a bunch of intercession warriors. We come from a whole bunch of Holy Ghost catching, tongue speaking, and you actually saw that. You saw players on the Bengals, players on the Bills, you know, you saw former players like myself in the middle of my house on my knees, you know what I'm saying? Like, tears in my eyes. Because again, we know the price that we ultimately might pay for this game. And you think about, you know, CTE, and you think about the mental health issues that so many guys deal with. You think about just the physical toll that it takes on your body and how it wears you out, and how you got guys that are basically living in 90-year-old bodies in their 40s and 50s. You know, that's all stuff that we understand. And when we signed up for it, we understood that, you know, this is something that we're going to have to deal with for the rest of our lives, but it's changing our families' lives. It's changing our children and our children's children's lives, but you don't sign up for that. And nothing prepares you for something like that. And the scariest part of it now, like, thank God that brother is still living, but the scariest part about it now is what comes next. You know what I mean? Because, and granted, I would never speak any negativity over any man, but just, we saw that brother, we saw him die and be brought back to life. I can't imagine that he's expecting to just hop right back on a football field anytime soon. And that brother is not, he's not in the league long enough to be vested. I'm a former player. I'm telling you, they're not going to be taking care of his medical expenses. As soon as he's out of sight, out of mind, they're going to forget him as quickly as they can. That's what the NFL is. That's how it treats its former players. So all of those prayers that we were given when that brother was laying on that field, I hope that same support and I hope that same outpouring of love and affection and care for that man's life and for the livelihood of his family, I hope we extend that in supporting him in whatever endeavors he chooses to go into. You know what I mean? I say that sincerely because that's this generation. This generation, when it's trendy, everybody's praying, everybody's supporting, everybody's asking how they can help. But when the lights go off, you know what I mean?
It's over with.
When the stadium is empty, you know what I mean? When it's not running on your ticker on ESPN,
Right, back to back.
you still care about that brother then. You know what I mean? I hope that God continues to keep his hand on him as he recovers. I hope that whatever he chooses to do in this next phase of his life, that he is blessed, that he is supported, that he is cared for. I hope that he has a support system of some people that he can trust around him that love him. I hope that his days are long and that his best days are ahead of him. That's my prayer for him. But and again, I hope that the world proves me wrong, but I've seen way too many examples of guys that I played with that are no longer with us, that died alone and unsupported. And I'm 34. You know what I mean? I'm 34 years old. So, I hate to be grim, but that's the reality. And again, we know what we signed up for. You know, there are a whole lot of people in this world where you say, hey, it's a chance you might lose your mind later on in life, but you might be able to change the trajectory of your family's life. You put a helmet on me and strap me up. You know what I mean? Like, of course. You know what I mean? But that's not going to be my son's story. That's not going to be, you know what I mean? Not unless he chooses it. You know, and he's going to know what he's getting into. When I was a kid, we didn't know that was the price. You're just playing. It wasn't no. Dr. Amalu's research started coming out. The guy that the movie Concussion was about. That movie, that research started being made public when I was still in college. I had already been playing the game for over 15 years of my life. You know what I mean? Like whatever damage was going to be done is mostly already done. You know what I mean? Like so. And I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that at some point every day it terrifies me. Because at this point in my life, I get paid for my money. You know what I mean? My intellect sustains me and my family and my community. My ideas are actually the most valuable thing that I have. And to know that that's not always promised.
That's important.
You know?
That's a crazy juxtaposition when in the NFL, your body was the most important commodity to you at that point.
And
then now it's just
your mind.
They trick you into the lie of believing that your body is the most important thing. Even then, it was my intellect. And not enough guys realize that until it's over.
I was going to say that you thought about that early.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of guys believe that they don't. Because like you said, they just playing, they just doing what they have, they have to do. But that's a big thing. Thinking about, all right, Hamlin had dealt with what he's dealing with now. It's like, okay, hopefully he's set up to be able to have a life you know, beyond after this part.
I hate counting people's pockets, but I'm not going with that because I've been there.
Word.
Man, this was his 3rd year in the league.
Yeah, 3rd.
Let me tell you how it goes. You're not a 1st-round draft pick. You coming into the league, ain't no $1 million contracts. I think what he met this year was the biggest contract that he's had in his career, and it wasn't even $1 million. It was like $800,000 or whatever. Take taxes out of that, and then factor in the NFL lifestyle. All the hangers-on, all the people that's asking you for what little they think you got the world, but what little you actually have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very, very, very few guys are actually set up, especially not by their 3rd year. Especially not when you're not making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I have to interject when people say things like that because we have a tendency as society, because guys are in the league and because guys, you assume that every player is taken care of. Most guys are scraping to get by. You know what I mean? Especially the ones on the fringes of contracts and,
right.
You know what I mean? On the fringes of the depth chart, unless you're a bona fide star on the team.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of those guys are getting stolen from and mismanaging their money and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there's a certain arrogance that you have when you're in that position where you think it's not going to last forever, but it's going to last long enough.
Yeah.
It's not always the case. It's not always the case. So again, man, I'm really praying for this brother, not just in this recovery process, but just in life. Like, I pray that, you know, this time for him, he's actually able to reflect and figure out what he wants out of life and to figure out what needs to happen for that to be a reality.